Before we start, let me greet you properly. What's up, Mzansi? Welcome back to Mzansi PoliScope. And to everyone who commented in the last video saying, "Bro, you didn't greet us." I hear you. You are appreciated. Now, listen to this carefully. A well-known DJ, a father, a man fighting crime in Johannesburg, shot dead in broad daylight, right outside a building he was trying to clean up. 2 days later, police flood that same building. Dogs, officers, city officials in bulletproof vests, phones are taken, people are questioned. And then we hear something disturbing, that on some of those phones, there were conversations about the killing. Aish, let that sink in. This is not a Netflix series. This is not a movie. This is Johannesburg CBD. This is South Africa. Today we are breaking down who DJ Warras really was, what happened during the Zambezi Building raid, and why this story exposes the deep rot of hijacked buildings and syndicates. We are not rushing. We are not guessing. We will play the original SABC News footage in full, then pause it, rewind it, and explain exactly what is being said. Because details matter. Context matters. If you care about what's happening in our cities, if you want facts, not noise, please subscribe. Let's get into it. Before we talk about the raid, before the police, the buildings, and the politics, we need to talk about the man who lost his life. Warwick Stock, known to many as DJ Warras. To some people, he was just a DJ, but to many others, he was much more than that. He was a father, a friend, a man who believed Johannesburg could still be fixed. Warras made his name in radio, 5FM, Cliff Central, bringing energy, humor, and honesty. You could hear it. He loved what he did. But later in life, he took a different path. He stepped into a space that many people are scared to touch, the fight against hijacked buildings in Joburg CBD. Through his private security company, Imperium, Warras became involved in helping property owners regain control of buildings that were allegedly being taken over by criminal networks. This meant dealing with non-paying tenants, facing intimidation, walking into dangerous environments daily. Let's be honest, this was not safe work. Reports indicate that during this process, Warras uncovered serious illegal activity in some buildings, including allegations of drugs, brothels, and illegal electricity connections. These are claims reported by multiple sources, and they form part of the context of the investigation. But what we know for sure is this: Warras was receiving threats. He went the legal route. He didn't take the law into his own hands. Just days before his death, he had reportedly obtained multiple protection orders against individuals linked to building disputes. Imagine going to court, telling the system, "Someone is threatening my life," and still, nothing happens. On 16 December 2025, just after midday, Warras was shot outside the Zambezi Building, opposite the Carlton Center, a busy public area. CCTV footage, as described in reports, shows a suspect approaching and firing multiple shots. Another individual, allegedly dressed in security-style clothing, was seen nearby. Warras died on the scene. Broad daylight, people around, and still no protection. What hurts even more is that many people believe his murder is connected to the very work he was doing to clean up the city. If that's true, then this is a message killing, and that should scare all of us. This is why the raid that followed matters so much, because it wasn't random, it was connected to something bigger. Now, this is where the story takes a serious turn. Less than 48 hours after DJ Warras is killed, Police arrive at the Zambezi Building. Not just one unit, not just detectives. Medjugorje, JMPD, SAPS, K9 units, city officials in bulletproof vests. Phones are taken, people are questioned. And then we hear something disturbing, that on some of those phones there were conversations about the killing. Wait, conversations about the murder? He even suggests that in some messages there was laughter. Nah, if that's true, that is deeply disturbing. Now, important to say this clearly, these are allegations, and phones still need to be analyzed by investigators. But if confirmed, this changes everything. Then comes another major revelation. Dr. Tshwaku states that 37 tenants in this building have allegedly not paid rent for nearly a year. He describes a so-called committee that decided to stop paying altogether. A whole year. How does that even happen? This is exactly how a building becomes hijacked. Once rent stops, once intimidation starts, serious, control shifts, and who suffers? Law-abiding tenants, children, the city, and eventually, people like DJ Warras.
Downstairs. Yes. They're now been told to go back to their respective unit. Yes. Talk to us about what the plan is here.
So what happens is that now we've got the 37 rooms where people they're not been paying, and also the 6 people that were in this area. There must be someone who can tell us something, who's been saying what, and so we hope that we can actually crack that.
You'll also notice K9 units moving through the building. This lines up with what Warras reportedly warned about in court papers, that weapons may be present. A woman interviewed during the raid denies any involvement in the murder. And that matters. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But she also speaks about threats, including claims that the building could be burned if evictions happen. Listen to that carefully. That's fear talking. That's a building under pressure. Look at the conditions. Overcrowding, illegal electricity connections, rubbish piling up. Children living inside this environment. This is not dignified living. This is a crisis. Dr. Tshwaku declares, tonight Zambezi belongs to JMPD. Strong words, but the question is, will they last beyond tonight? So let's summarize what we actually know from this raid. People of interest questioned, phones seized and under analysis, serious allegations raised. No arrests confirmed yet. But one thing is clear. This raid did not happen by accident. Something triggered it, and DJ Warras' death sits right at the center of it. Now, let's zoom out, because this is bigger than one building. Zambezi is not an isolated case. Johannesburg is sitting with hundreds of hijacked buildings, properties taken over by criminal networks who collect illegal rent, intimidate residents, and run entire operations outside the law. And the scariest part? This has been happening for years. Here's how it usually starts. A building owner loses control. Rent collection collapses. A group steps in, sometimes pretending to organize tenants. Then intimidation starts. Lawful tenants are bullied, utilities are illegally connected, and soon the building is no longer governed by law. That's hijacking. Inside many of these buildings, authorities and media have previously uncovered overcrowded rooms, fire hazards, illegal electricity connections, criminal activity hiding in plain sight. Not in every building, but in far too many. And here's the part that affects everyone. When rent isn't paid, the city loses money. When electricity is stolen, the grid suffers. When buildings decay, crime spreads into surrounding areas. Even if you don't live in the CBD, you pay for this. Taxpayers cover unpaid services, emergency services risk their lives, and innocent families are trapped in unsafe conditions. This is what makes DJ Warras' story so painful. He wasn't just fighting criminals. He was fighting a system that moves too slowly. Reports suggest he followed legal processes. He went to court. He got protection orders. And still, the danger remained. If people trying to restore order can be threatened, targeted, and killed, what message does that send? That's why the Zambezi raid matters. Not because of cameras, not because of politics, but because it exposed how close we are to losing control of entire parts of our cities. And if this is not fixed, DJ Warras will not be the last. So where do we stand right now? As of the latest updates, people of interest have been questioned. Phones are under forensic analysis. Serious investigations are still ongoing. No arrests have been officially confirmed yet. And that weight is heavy. The big questions remain unanswered. Who ordered the hit? Was DJ Warras specifically targeted for his work? Could this have been prevented? And why did action only come after a life was lost? These are not unfair questions. They are necessary ones. What many South Africans are asking for now is simple: accountability, real protection for whistleblowers and activists, faster intervention in hijacked buildings. Not statements, not press conferences. Because when the system reacts late, people die. DJ Warras should still be alive. His death should not be just another headline. It should be a turning point. Now, I want to hear from you. Have hijacked buildings affected your area? Have you seen intimidation, illegal connections, or neglect? Share your experience in the comments. This channel exists so these stories don't disappear. Awareness is the first step, pressure is the second, and silence helps no one. Thank you for watching Mzansi PoliScope. If this video gave you clarity, like it. If you value honest, detailed breakdowns, subscribe. And if this conversation matters to you, share this video. Rest in power, DJ Warras. Your fight did not go unnoticed. Stay safe, Mzansi. We'll keep watching.
Drug smugglers and political killings, the taking out of whistleblowers, the babitas of the world, God rest her soul, what a brave woman. If that's the accusation that's being leveled, it certainly isn't being treated with the seriousness that I think it deserves. And that tells me everything I need to know about Izophelela Kuphi.